Hey guys, it's Jeff from Pressure Luck, and today I have a parasitical recipe for you. No, seriously, it's totally inspired from the movie Parasite. Banjo's excited about it. And guys, if you saw this incredible film, you'll know in the movie they make this dish called RAMen. You know, like the people who are infiltrating the house, the family, they start making it really quickly because the family is coming home and they request it, and all chaos ensues at that point of the film. It's the turning point of the film, and it makes sense because, well, a dish this delicious should be featured in such a prominent moment of plot twist. Guys, this is literally mixing two different kinds of ramen noodles together, and you're gonna create the simplest, fastest, very tasty dish right in your Instant Pot. Now, the director of Parasite, Bong Joon-Ho, said that ramen is something he actually created himself. So if you go to Korea and you say, I want some ramen, they're gonna look at you like you're nuts. It's actually known as jjajang. That's another word for it. That's the actual typical way you call it, is jjajang noodles. But he called it ramen because he said it's a mixture of two different types of noodles, which is like a ramen and then an uDON, so ramen. Although both of them are kind of pretty much similar to me. Anyway, enough of my talking. This film is phenomenal. You should see it if you haven't already. And it's inspired me to make this dish right in the Instant Pot. It's super easy, it's super fast. And why in the Instant Pot? Well, folks, because we can. So let's go and make some ramen. Wait, did you hear something? Richard, did you hear something? I think I heard something down there. Oh, we better hurry before some crazy stuff ensues. There are two key ingredients you're going to need if you want to make ramen exactly as it was intended in the film of Parasite, and that is going to be Chapagetti or jjajang noodles and Neoguri. They're both made by the Nongshim brand. Nongshim. And even though this is spicy seafood, guys, it's not going to taste like seafood. I guarantee you it won't. Trust me on this. We're going to just basically marry these two together. Hence the name Ram, which is ramen, and then Dan for udon. One is a little thicker than the other, but to tell you the truth, I can't even really tell when they're combined. Now I'm going to double this. I'm going to put 2 Chapagettis and 2 Neoguris in there because I feel like that'll be more fitting for 4 servings. This to me is more like 2 servings if you just combine these two together, because let's get real, who can't just eat their own ramen, right? This is really like 2 servings. Each packet is like 1 serving. So I'll double it. And you can find these so easily anywhere really online. In most Asian markets you can get these, but it is important that you use these 2 exact types of noodles if you want to experience the same amazing meal that the Park family did in Parasite. We'll open each packet up, and there's like a disc of noodles in there that we'll remove. You see that? Like a nice disc, almost like a rice cake, but of ramen. And in the Chapagetti, you're going to have 3 packets, okay? One of them is going to be dried flakes, one is going to be seasoning, and the other one is going to be an oil. This is the last thing we'll add. And let's open the Neoguri. You basically have the exact same setup as you did for the Chapagetti. You have some ramen noodles. They're really exactly the same in terms of the thickness. And then you have 2 packets. Like the Chapagetti, you have one that's dried flakes and one that's the seasoning. Okay, so let's just take these now and set these aside. Now, if you want to add some steak to your ramen like they do in the film, I suggest using like a sirloin type of cut. This is a tri-tip. It's about 1 pound to 1.25 pounds. That's really all you're going to need, especially if you're going to just make enough for about 3 to 4 servings worth. All I want to do now is I just want to take my knife and just cut all of my meat up. Now there's some thick edges of fat on these cuts, which I'll discard. I really just want to focus on the meat. And there we go, nice and diced into bite-sized pieces just like that. And now I just want to season my meat with some kosher salt, just a little bit like that. And some black peppers, a little bit of that. And then just kind of mix it up, just like this. And then just toss it into a bowl. Alright, let's cook this baby up. Now, because I'm adding the sirloin to the dish, just like in the film, I want to add some butter to the pot. But if I'm not going to be using any meat, I don't have to do this step at all. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons or 1/4 stick of salted butter. Now we'll come down to the Instant Pot and hit the saute button and adjust so we're on the more or the high setting. To do that, I hit the saute button again, or if you have an adjust button on your model, you hit the adjust button to do that. But if you don't have an adjust button, you hit the saute button again to toggle between the temperature settings. That's less or low, normal or medium, or more or high. We want it on more or high. And now that the butter's nice and melted, let's take our sirloin and add it to the pot. And we just want to saute the sirloin in here, guys, until it's fully cooked. About 5 or so minutes. That's why when we have it in bite-sized pieces, it's going to cook much more quickly. But just keep sauteing it around in the pot until it is cooked. because we're not going to end up cooking our sirloin with the ramen, because the ramen cooks super quickly, guys. And the sirloin would need a little bit more time under pressure, so we're simply going to sear cook it in the butter. Alright, and after about, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes of sauteing the meat, you don't want it to get too overdone, you're going to be perfect. It should be nice and cooked. Let's take a slotted spoon, and then take all of our sirloin and put it in a bowl. Alright, perfect. And now let's go back to the pot, and let's leave everything that's in the pot still in there. And now I want to pour in 4.5 cups of water. Now we'll just put the discs of the noodles inside the pot, and I'm using 4 of them, remember? And just lay them on top of each other like this, that's totally fine. And if there's any crumbs left in the bag, just simply, put them in there. And now let's secure our lid. Make sure that we're in the sealing position. Now I'll come back to my control panel and hit the cancel or the keep warm cancel button depending on your model. And then I'm gonna hit the pressure cook or the manual button depending on your model. And guys, I wanna go for 0 minutes at high pressure. Yes, you heard that right, 0 minutes. You adjust using the plus and minus buttons to get there. And the reason why is because these are ramen noodles and they're gonna cook rapidly fast. And you see, because we cooked this for 0 minutes and setting the time for that, it's gonna go right from on to being finished. Because again, we set it for no time, so there's nothing to count down from. Now let's quick release. And the pin just dropped, so let's take our lid off. And there's our ramen, nice and cooked perfectly. Look at that. Absolutely awesome. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to season this up. And what I want to do is I want to add in all of the dry seasonings first from the Chapagetti and the Neoguri. Remember guys, I did double the amount, so I'm going to be adding 2 packets of each. There you go. Little black flakes in there. And now we're going to add in the soup base mixture for each. We're going to put the Chapagetti, I'm going to put 2 of those in. And a lot of people just like to use half the Neoguri packet when they use only 1. So I'm just going to use only 1 instead of 2 of the entire Neoguri. Alright, and there we go. Adding all that in. And now let's give all of that in the pot a good stir so everything gets nice and combined. This is what's going to give the ramdon its very specific and delicious and irresistible, frankly, looking color. You see that? It's already happening. Just keep tossing it around. Now let's take our steak that we lightly basically grilled on there very quickly, or I should say sauteed. It's fully cooked, of course. And let's toss that in with everything in the pot. Look at all that rich color. And the last thing I want to add is the little oil packet that came with the Chapagetti. Again, because I doubled everything, I'm going to be adding 2 of these. Squeeze the oil in, gives it a nice glistening factor. And we'll give everything a final toss in there. Oh man, this is looking great. This is looking perfect, just like in the movie. I mean, it's unbelievable how the packets can take a boring looking ramen noodle and make it look like this super irresistible, mouth-watering gourmet ramen, or lo mein even. Alright guys, we're ready to serve this into some dishes. Ooh, it looks great. And I'm going to just simply take it from the giant pot and put it in a giant bowl. And guys, there we have it. Ramdon! Ready to serve. Look at how easy this was. I mean, it looks absolutely mouth-watering, doesn't it? Just like in the movie. Can't wait to try it out. Alright guys, here it is. Look at all this ramdon. There's a lot in here. And also, you want to eat this pretty much immediately, because noodles will get very, very soft otherwise afterwards, and you don't want that to happen. But guys, I mean, look at how beautiful this is. Look at this. It's a nice big bowl. This is perfect for 4 people. If you only did 1 package of each instead of doubling it like I did, it'll be really good for 2 people, I feel like. So let's try this out. Look at this. Oh, that's some nice flavor in there. And there's some steak. Delicious. Banjo's coming over here, of course. Who doesn't love a big bowl of noodles and a sauce that looks just like this? I mean, it's amazing, and it was literally one of the easiest things I've ever made in my entire life. Forget the Instant Pot alone in my life. Look! Noodles. Oh, look at that. Ah! And that steak. This is delicious. Very simple, super quick dinner to make. Now, if you didn't even want to add the steak to it, it's even faster. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are like, why are you even doing this in your Instant Pot? It's ramen. You can do it on your stovetop. And the answer to that is because I can. And I'm also not draining any of the water. It's already absorbed directly, so it's more easy this way. It's less cleanup, less, having to strain water. Who wants to do that? One of the joys of the Instant Pot is making noodles without having to strain any water. Now, if you wanted to add in that other packet of the Neoguri, by all means, feel free to. That's up to you. Delicious. Richard, give it a try. And here's the love of my life right over here, my Richard. And there's a big bowl of RAMen for you. We saw the movie together. What did you think of that movie?
I love that movie.
It was such a good movie. And this, you know, give it a try. There's some steak. I staked it up just like in the film. Simple, you know, sirloin. And then there you go. There's the noodles and the seasoning, and super, super easy to make.
I'm not the best with chopsticks, so I'm a little self-conscious being on camera with them.
What do you think? Oh, I mean, I'm not offended if you don't like it, because I technically didn't do anything with this. I just simply cooked it in its seasoning packets.
It's good. It's interesting.
It tastes like a very general ramen dish, but a little bit more rich. Not only just because of the meat, but the seasoning packets in this one are a lot more interesting than the typical, like, top ramens you would get. Like, it's way more exciting than that.
Oh, definitely better than that.
You could also, if you want, add some scallions at the end. If you want, slice up some fresh scallions, sprinkle them on top. That's a nice touch, or even some sesame seeds.
Oh yeah, sesame seeds. You have some?
Yeah, I do. And I have some black sesame seeds here if you want to sprinkle some of those on top. That's a nice little touch. Yeah. Totally not necessary. But there you guys, you have it. It's one of those classic dishes that you see in a film and you're like, wow, that would taste real, real good. The other one on my list is probably the giant pancake from Uncle Buck that he makes, and I think he uses like a snow shovel to flip over. That's not gonna happen in this kitchen. Maybe if we get a place like, I don't know, in the middle of nowhere, that can happen.
With a giant griddle.
With a giant, yeah, seriously. But there you have it, guys. Literally the easiest thing you could really make in your Instant Pot is this dish. It's so crazy simple. And if you don't add the sirloin, it's like, literally, dinner's done in 2 seconds.
Yeah, how fast was this?
I mean, well, it's a 0 time cook time in there. All this has to do is just bring the pot to a boil, the water in there, and then it's done. You just release it, simple. The thing I do like about doing it in the Instant Pot versus the stove is you don't have to drain any water, because everything's gonna get absorbed. It's everything you put in there stays in there. So there you go. Richard,
what happens in the Instant Pot stays in the Instant Pot.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What happens in there stays in there. And there's a lot of secrets that happen in that Instant Pot. Don't tell anybody. Shh, don't tell. All right, give me a little bit of that. Well, there you go, guys. RAMen, made in the Instant Pot. It's totally inspired from the film Parasite. And, well, we have our wonderful lunch here, so we're going to enjoy. If you enjoy these recipes, check out PressureLuckCooking.com, because I have tons of recipes there with very easy to follow instructions with videos for every single one. Facebook.com/PressureLuckCooking, and like that page, like it. I have a cookbook coming out. This recipe won't be in it, but there's going to be some spectacular ones with tons of photos, more photos I think than any other Instant Pot cookbook has as of now. It comes out in April of 2020. Pre-order it if this video is being watched before then, and order it if you're watching it afterwards. And of course, at Pressure Luck on YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thank you so much again, guys. And remember, RAMen is so good, you just might hear sounds coming from the basement that you never heard before. That's Banjo. That's not the basement.
He's in the basement.
You saw the movie to get that. All right. You want some RAMen? Bye.